Hello, everybody. It is Tiffany Little. Welcome to Marry at First Sight Review, Season 12, Episode 4 and 5. Unfortunately, I wanted to record last week and I didn't feel well. So I decided just to go ahead and wait till I watch the fifth episode and then record 4 and 5 together. I'm not going to do too much on 4 and 5 because 4 is pretty much we pretty much saw it was the honeymoon where everybody got together. They're going to Vegas. And also it was the brunch with the families. So just recap a little bit. We saw Eric. I'm gonna start with Eric and Virginia. So we saw Virginia meet with Eric's mom, who talked to her about the life of being a pilot's wife and how there's going to be so many days out the he's going to be gone and you know what their life is like. And then she asks Virginia about kids. Virginia's kind of like, well, I might want kids, but not right now. Moving on to Jacob and Haley. I know I didn't talk about Eric. Um, yeah, and just move on to Jacob and Haley. With Jacob sat with Haley's family, and it seemed like they showed kind of like clips back of Jacob talking about his beach and his sauna and his spa, and how he added on two areas to the house. Not I'm just playing, but just him talking about the house and again his steak and eggs diet and her family just told her, Haley, if she's upset, just give her a space, let her do whatever. And then you kind of see Jacob's parents, who are very quiet, don't seem talkative, very mild, laid back, and you just kind of see, Haley talking with them, trying to figure out what's going on. Then we kind of go to Claire and Ryan. Claire's parents, talked to Ryan and told him, they wish they would have showed maybe a little bit more of those arguments or emotion in front of her to help her learn conflict resolution. Claire meets with Ryan's parents, who are, I believe, both pastors, and so they're praying. So I know that's a bit of a conflict for them. Then we go to Brianna and Vincent. Brianna meets with his family. His cousin talks about how protective she is of her and asks her to kind of, list the things that she's looking for. And the cousin looks satisfied. And Brianna asks about, how is he when he's sad or he's upset? And it's like, oh, Vincent has a temper, which Vincent later on counteracts that his temper is not that bad. Then Vincent meets with Brianna's family. And Brianna's family, Mama, she came off like Mama Bear. I'm protective of my daughter. So I know if anything happens. And so we kind of leave it at that. And then we go to Chris and Paige, which I'm not going to stay on too long because then we hit the next episode. And with Chris and Paige, of course, Paige meets with his parents. Um, she tells him about them having sex and his mom, which I thought she was just completely, utterly wrong. I thought it was complete trash that she asked her, well, was he drunk? It doesn't matter if your son is drunk. He had sex with her knowing even that night before, even before, regardless, he knew he didn't have an attraction to her. Now, one thing Paige said she didn't understand how, you never had a guy who wasn't attracted to you. Men will have sex with you even if they're not attracted to you. If you're not considered cute, if they don't consider, they put a bag over your head and have sex with you. That's just the reality. And like someone stated, and I didn't have it, I don't even want to try and use a statement, but basically, for men, sex is just physical. For women, it's more love, and to gain that love. For men, it's they will use it to get that love or to gain it from a woman. So for men, that's why so many men can have sex with so many women. And if he says it doesn't mean anything, he might honestly be telling the truth. Sadly, that it may not mean anything because for them, they can, in some sense, even though some men say we are emotional, we have emotions, but sometimes their actions in that way make it seem like they do kind of detach from um, sex and love and the emotion that we as women equate with all that stuff with that level of intimacy. So okay, so again, we get him telling him he's proud of his son and for being honest. And once she tells them that it happened the second time, his mom didn't really have anything to say to Aunt. And it turns to this big thing of Chris giving this speech about, oh, where I come from, the hood I come from, this is how we do it. Shut up, you were wrong, admit that you were wrong. And keep it moving. And of course, we never see him meet with her parents, so we don't know how that would go, especially with her two dads, because she, like Imani from last season, had a father and a stepfather that was present, and plus she has a brother. So I'm pretty sure, if somebody would have been there, they would have read through Chris's BS and saw the craziness and foolishness. I'm going back to Claire and Ryan. Claire and Ryan. I mean, Ryan just learned that she talks in her sleep. Haley and Jacob don't really do anything. It just kind of turns out the light. They take a nap. They take a nap. They go to bed. Nothing happens. She does talk about his many graphic T-shirts, which I'm not gonna talk about, Jake, because I like graphic tees and I got a ton of them. So they're not anything with Harambe, or I don't have no USA fanny pack with a built-in speaker, but that's neither here nor there. But which is very funny. I think Haley's somewhat trying to warm up to him. She's still kind of looking like, I'm wading my way through in this episode, so we still not sure what's going on. Vincent got going to Vincent and Brianna again. Vincent got news that his grandmother was sick. Brianna was very supportive, and I think he really appreciated her having his back and showing that, hey, we can go Vegas any other time. If you need to go back home, I'm here for you. Basically, this is what I said when I took them vows. This is what I said I would do. For better or for worse, to death do us part. So I thought that was a very beautiful thing between them. Eric and Virginia, they kind of talked about, a little bit about the kid thing, her not being ready. So, I just know Virginia, as soon as she got there, she liked the mini bar. Virginia is funny in a way because she just kind of reminds me of that party girl. She just kind of, I don't know, I don't want to laugh at her drinking, but she seems to have a bardar. And when I say barter, I mean the ability to be able to sniff out alcohol. I mean, and I'm pretty sure she could tell you what proof it is. I'm sorry, that wasn't nice, but I'm just saying, girl know how to find. As soon as she was in the room, guess what I found? The mini bar. Child, slow down. Can you enjoy it? Can you go to the pool? What you gonna do? Take the mini bar with you? So, anyways, I'm trying to think if I'm missing going back over. I think I pretty much went over everything with everybody for the fourth episode. Now getting to the fifth episode. So the fifth episode opens up with all this drama. Now production know they wrong. They know they wrong. It opens up with production telling Chris, you need to tell her. You need to tell her. And we're like, oh my goodness, this is how we really starting out the episode. I mean, we starting off with the drama. We starting off. I mean, I thought I was watching like an episode left from like last week of Love and Hip Hop Miami, The Real Housewives. Is this Married at First Sight that I'm watching? So I kind of didn't like that. It just seemed like they was just ready for the drama and kind of set it up like, yeah, he about to tell her. And then it kind of skips to, another couple. So I'm going to go to, Eric and Virginia, just discuss a little bit about them. Eric and Virginia kind of have the conversation while they're in the pool about, Virginia mentions having male friends and how cool she is. And, Eric mentions, oh, I'm not too, keen on male friends. And, sometimes guys, and he was telling her the truth. I get it. You've had some of these friends before you married. So you want to be respectful and just don't throw away your friends once you get married. But it is true, guys. See, sometimes as women, unless you've been around guys, and I know my friends say you generalize by guys, but I've just been around guys, my brothers, my friends' brothers, other guys that have male friends. And it's true, some of them do kind of look at women, even if they are friends. They might look at you like they like you. They might be okay staying in the friend zone if they ever get a shot or whatever's happened. So, I mean, he was being honest about that. There's no need to be jealous or, talk about healthy jealousy. I mean, I can see maybe him saying like, I might not like nobody looking at you because, again, let's understand sometimes. See, if I say, I don't even want to say it because my friend was like, you always generalizing, but there's a bit of an ego that we talk about sometimes men have. And I've, seen it where if I'm, not having you, nobody else can. But I'm not going to go too much into that because I don't feel like I'm generalizing or sound like I'm male bashing, which I'm really not. But, I mean, there's some things to what I say. And I know I've heard other people saying, and there's some truth to it. So I'm not bashing. Not at all. Okay, let's go on to Brianna and Vincent. We get to see them out on a date, and he carries her onto the beach, and they have a nice little dinner. And he all just, they both kind of googly eyed. We find out later why they're very googly eyed, but just kind of looking at each other and just having a nice dinner. But I kind of want to go back to when they were in the room and they were having breakfast, and Brianna asked him, would you want to live in like a townhouse, a high rise, and one other place? And he was like, oh, I wouldn't mind living in a townhouse. And she's like, well, what about a high rise? And we kind of get on the subject of her being bossy, which I was like, Brianna, come on. And I get it. I wonder if she's a little bit spoiled or if she's been spoiled, because that kind of sounds like either a bossy or a spoiled person's response. I want it this way. Hopefully, Vince seems pretty cool, but hopefully she won't be too bossy and it becomes a turn off. Hopefully she'll find a compromise and balance with him. I did like though when he mentioned something about having kids in a couple of years, and she did ask him, how about 3? I thought that was a good little compromise and a way to kind of work, have a discussion. He was like, okay, cool. So it wasn't like with the high rise, no, we gonna live here. How about we wait a few years? So I thought that was cool with them. Like I said, going back, they had a nice little dinner. He carried her, and they was all googly eyed. And then we have Claire and Ryan, who had like a nice little date, and they, I think they went to the aquarium and they had a nice little discussion about children and different things that they like. I know there was discussion of religion. She said she grew up in organized religion and felt like she was forced. I think they need to explore that conversation some more, because he does want to raise his kids in the church. She sounds like she doesn't. I would really like to know why she stopped going to seminary, like what happened, because sometimes people feel like it's more the church, and sometimes it's not so much the church, but it's how how you allow it to affect your relationship with God is the reality. I'm not saying there aren't any church people that are not nice or don't do anything, but I feel like if you don't resolve the issue that you have with those people who've done you wrong, it can spill over into your relationship with God and how you view Him and how you view other people. And so it's deeper than just the technically just being the church. It's your relationship. How do you view your relationship with God? And some people say it's not that, because I can have God outside church. And you're right, you can. Yet there's still there's still a issue that when you don't want to deal with certain things or deal with people or be reconciled, there's still some hurt and pain there that needs to be addressed. But when I know somebody like, she can raise her kids how she wants to, and you're right, she can. But I just feel like there's a deeper issue and a deeper conversation that needs to be had. I don't know if they had it, maybe we had not seen it, but I just feel there's a deeper conversation that could be had in that situation. But other than that, I like Clara, so I have no problem with Clara. I mean, again, people choose whatever they want to. You can't make them do whatever it is that you feel like you want them to do or they need to do. So, I mean, again, that's the thing with religion. People think that, when they were talking about their kids going, look, you can raise your kids in church and they still make their own decision to do what they want to do. So I raised my daughter in church. She was raised heavily. She knows prayer. She knows all that. She doesn't come back. She's not attending church. So, and I'm not forcing her. I'm not trying to make her. She knows what she needs to do. I know how I raised her. I know what I placed in her. And so people also need to trust that your kids know what to do. And, sometimes too, you feel like if you give them the option, sometimes too, that can be forcing stuff. Because people don't realize it's not just religion you force on your kids. There's so many other things that we don't realize. Like what type of education, what you want to be, those things are forced on your kids, and that might not be the path. So let's please stop playing like church is the only thing that gets forced on people. And as if it's the end all be all. I know it's a very sensitive topic, but let's be honest, there's so many other things that get forced on people that we don't look at it that way, but it's the truth. So, as I digress, let's see. I talked a little bit about Eric and Virginia, Brianna and Vincent, Claire and Ryan, Jacob and Haley. They seemed like they had a nice little dinner. He gave us a little straw joke about, what type of straw. Something about the ends, his mouth and his butt, it was cringy. I guess it was cute, but I don't know if it was cute, but it was cringy. And she kind of laughed and seemed like she enjoyed it. So even as now we're moving, I'm gonna move to that part in a few minutes and kind of go back to Chris and Paige because that was the opening scene. Oh my goodness. Uh, lights, camera, action. And then, the director signed and they go ahead and hit and then everything's on. And it's like, oh, why don't you want to talk? But anyways, so we got to see during the time when all the couples were sitting out, she seemed to be sitting up under Jacob kind of close and comfortable. And she's, warming up to Jacob, which I think is sometimes Haley just has this look like, why am I here? I'm trying, but why am I here? Why am I with this dude? So I don't know, maybe she finds a little crazy sense of humor. It's kind of geeky, which I mean, it's okay that he's geeky, but it's had to work on him and his steak and eggs. Need something more than that. Hopefully he falls back with some kind of greens or some kombucha, something to kind of help keep the digestion going, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so let's get to the foolery, which is Chris and Paige. Now that I'm calling Paige foolish, but Chris. So we finally see the scene where Chris is him and Paige are sitting at the table and they're trying to have breakfast. And he's like, oh, I got some very devastating news. But then he doesn't want to tell her. So he's sitting there going back and forth talking about, I don't want to tell you. And she's like, well, why are you going to bring it up if you're not going to tell me? I'm your wife. And, kind of throw that back in his face. Like, look, now you told me as a husband, blase, blase. Now it's like, I'm your wife. So you're not going to share that news with me and whatever else. And so Chris gets up and somebody, I just can't tell her. I ain't tell her. I can't tell her. And then finally, Paige goes into the bathroom. He turns on, showers on, whatever. He tells her, take off your mic. And you can hear him tell her, take off your mic. And hear the producer right by the door with the mic, like, I'm ready to catch it. And he tells her the news and he leaves out. And we know Paige is probably, I don't know about Paige, but I probably want to pull him in the shower and dunk his face under the water for a few minutes. I know it's kind of violent, but you understand the anger. You already had this dude tell you that he wasn't attracted to you, then turns around and has sex and tries to make him seem like he's the good guy. No. And then he turns around and tells you he has a baby on the way. So that means you were screwing in the midst of your process, sir. Just be honest, you were screwing 6 weeks before the process. I don't know how far you was into, but you were screwing. Somebody in her family died. She needed comfort. You thought you would comfort her with that. And now we have a baby on the way. And so that leads us to, once they find out, how she has to go talk to Brianna. And Brianna's like, whoa, what you going to do? And Paige, oh, baby, she trying to hold on by a string and a prayer. She trying to hold on by hope. She trying to pray at the Lord, and the Lord is like, baby girl, I work in miracles and do the impossible. Oh, baby girl, this is not me. I say, this ain't me, boo. I feel bad for Paige. I feel bad for whoever thought it was okay to let Chris go through. I feel bad that she has to be in a contract that sometimes people are like, oh, she's being weak. I think she's embarrassed and trying to save face. I think she's really trying to believe and hope somewhere. Sometimes, and I know it's a denial thing, but sometimes people will use God or trying to hold on to some hope of God that it would get better, that somewhere along the line, Lord, I felt like you told me this, you led me to that. I felt this had to be you. And sometimes it may not be. Or the Lord might have opened up the opportunity for you to see. I don't know. I don't want to put the blame on the Lord. Because maybe God could open up the process, but like somebody said, the devil getting the details, and then you got Chris. And you got the people who made the decision and the people who thought it was going to be okay. Who took everything, every wish, every desire, every hope you had and wanted to make your life a living hell. I know everybody keeps talking about her self-esteem, but I think I think she's trying to save face and not feel so embarrassed. Because there were some moments when Paige was kind of like, look, Negro. Like when she talked to him and told him, or when she talked to, you can see it in her face. And even when he asked her about staying, she was like, I will leave. If it was decision day, I would walk away. So I think she's just trying to make it work. I think she's trying to save face. I think she's embarrassed. I think she even, to a certain point, doesn't want to make God look bad because she kept saying she felt like the Lord led her here. And, to sit there and give up is to say that, she gave up on what she felt like God was doing. So I get it. I'm not saying every decision she's making it right, but I get it. So, they talk. She finds out, he talks to Vince. I'm kind of glad Vince, was honest with him and kind of held his, feet a little bit to the fire. Um, about the whole situation. I thank you that Brianna and Vince were very supportive of, Paige and, just gonna walk through. And then we get to the scene where all the couples are sitting out there and everybody's discussing how great their marriage are. And, Claire's like, oh, we're getting closer. And Haley and Jacob, they're still, everything's moving slow. We find out Brianna and Vincent, they got it in. They felt comfortable with the intimacy and they made love. Let me not say they got it in because it makes it sound so vulgar, but they, consummated their marriage. Eric and Virginia, no, they didn't consummate their marriage, but they come in late, which is hilarious and funny, but not so funny. So, you know, before they get there, Paige and Chris, Paige tells Chris, we might as well go ahead and say what we found out. They tell everybody that Chris has a baby on the way. She's 6 weeks pregnant. Everybody looking like, dang. Claire mad because she like, dang. I can't believe it. And she, mentioned something about, Claire's reaction. I mean, Paige's reaction being like Stockholm syndrome, where, she's saying, I'm going to be good. Basically, I'm going to be the supportive wife. I'm going to be the godly wife. I'm going to try and do the right thing. Jacob and Haley don't say anything. Brianna and Vincent already had their 2 cents earlier. So, everybody's kind of sitting there. And then we get Eric and Virginia right on time. So everything's kind of calmed down and they come and then here they come and they find out the news. And, Virginia asks a question, is it yours? And then Eric was like, you got to focus on that woman right there. You got to focus on her. And it was just kind of funny to hear them going back and forth because they both sound like one of those drunk couples that you would meet out somewhere and they be like, yeah, hold on, but let me tell you. We're here to support you. We got your. I mean, it was just. I mean, it's hilarious, but it's not. It was a little bit of comedic relief in the midst of what comedy always does. Help you laugh in the midst of tragedy, because that whole situation with Paige going on is very, very tragic. Again, I think dude is trash. I don't think he should have been brought on, but I'm not a producer. I just my heart is broken for her, really. It really is. And yeah, I don't even know if she needs, I don't even think I would want them to do a do over for her or anybody because I don't know if I would trust them enough to even do the do over right. Whoever thought it was okay, who didn't see through some of the red flags, I don't know. But I heard Pastor Kyle do an interview. He said Chris is totally different from what they've shown them. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed too in Pastor Kyle. I'm like, Pastor Kyle, for real. Even I'm not even just gonna hold him, and I think we're holding him because he's black. But even Dr. Viviana, I know she's expert, but still, and even Dr. Pepper, what was it about this guy that just, you know, especially with all the, information that we get about people who have narcissistic tendencies or abusive, tendencies or I don't know. I mean, I haven't watched, maybe I will have to go through and see how he answered his test because, there are unfortunately people who are sociopaths who do make it through and somehow people are fooled by their behaviors. We always wonder how they get through, even past people who, some of us who say we got the Holy Spirit and we feel with it. Sometimes you don't always see it coming or you try and warn them to help them. Sometimes people just don't listen or they don't see it or maybe he was clever enough to fool them, but yeah, it's sad. And I'm pretty sure with everything that's going on Paige, it's going to probably be more triggering. And this might be if they keep pulling this, because I watched seasons 1 and 2, and they had some interesting, but it felt more real than when they had those couples. But if they keep bringing on people like a Luke or Matt or a Brandon and Michael or Chris, it's like I don't know if it's just the I mean, I know there's always been narcissistic people and people who have sociopaths, but I don't know if it's just the whole thing with social media and TV where they can just, act like 45. Just act a plumb fool like 45. I'm start calling them 45s because that's what they act like. Just these tendencies and behaviors. It's ridiculous. It really is, and it's sad. And it's sad to watch her. I mean, it's hard and it's cringy. For me, watching Paige is not entertaining. It doesn't add any value. What's entertaining is it might be Eric and Virginia. What might be entertaining is watching, Claire. I mean, watching the couples, relationship grow into something beautiful. Not somebody who has a husband who has narcissistic abusive tendencies that's sitting up here telling her in one breath, you know, just that, I'm not attracted to you, but I continue to have sex. And then when she asks if you still got feelings, you try and say, I'm still here. Basically, I'm here for you. You're my wife. You come first. And then we see at the end of the previews for next week that he flips the script again. So, no. Mm-mm. I don't know if I want to keep watching, if we're going to keep getting people on here, or if we're going to bring them on in for entertainment so that people can be abused. If I wanted to watch something that dealt with abuse and that was supposed to be quote unquote entertaining, I would watch like a Lifetime movie to see how the person got out the abuse or how. But to watch people in real life, no. Because at least with the Lifetime movie, you're telling a story that probably was based on a true story, but you're telling a story, and even in that, there's some triumphant, I just, yeah, so Married at First Sight, get your lives together. Producers, people casting, get your life together. Stop trying to put people to entertain in shows where people got to get married and deal with real relationship issues because you don't have blood on your hands. You're really going to have blood on your hands and be the cause of people years down the line having some kind of trauma, all because you wanted to have entertainment. I understand it's reality TV, but if you want that kind of reality TV, then that's what that 90-Day Fiance and all that crazy. Ugh. Anyways, just stop playing people's lives. Get your life. Lifetime and Married at First Sight, casting and producing. Get your life. Okay. All right. Well, that's the end of my review. I know it wasn't as concise as I would like it to be. I'm trying to make sure I didn't leave out anything with the couples. That's pretty much all I got. I think the biggest highlight seems to be Chris and Paige, the most to talk about. Everybody else seems pretty cool. Like I said, Haley's adjusting to Jacob. Eric and Virginia, well, they're learning how to work with each other. Standing at mirrors and pools and mini bars. Brianna and Vincent, I know, just see so many previews. Just pray that they keep going and growing. And Ryan and Claire, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But like all relationships, you learn in each other and you have, ups and downs. And you take the good with the bad. All right. Well, this is it. And you have a good one. Bye.